Yo, what is going on, everybody? You got Tone here, the coach of the Miami Malamarlins, and I am here bringing you guys the team builder and battle for week 1 of the PTL Division 2, where this week we are taking on the Leuven Larvitars. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and their coach Blood Crawler. Now, this is kind of a delayed battle, to be perfectly honest, because I was actually supposed to be playing somebody else, here for week number 1, but they unfortunately had in real life issues and unfortunately was not able to stay in the league. So we have the replacement coach here in Bloodcrawler, and he is taking over for PJ Lilly and the Denver Bronzongs and using his team for this week 1 battle here. So if you guys missed the draft recap that I did, the link will be in the description so you can check out why I drafted the mods I did. But for those of you who just want to skip it over, the team matchup is to the right of your screen. You see my draft with the Garchomp with Z-moves, Mega Diancie, Jirachi, Suicune, Roserade, Excelgor with Z-moves, Mandibuzz, Silvally, Quagsire, Pyro with Z-moves, and the Medicham. And the team that my opponent has access to is at the lower right side of your screen with the Hoopa Unbound with Z-moves, Mecha Kangaskhan with no Seismic Toss and Power Up Punch, Porygon 2, Primarina, Metagross with Z-moves, Swellow, Kingdra, Tentacruel, Delphox, Gourgeist, and the Ditto. So, to be perfectly honest, I put a lot of prep into this build, not gonna lie. I actually got a head start on this a few weeks back, after the draft had ended. Because I have a bad tendency of forgetting specific EVs and whatnot that I wanted to bring on specific sets and everything. So I didn't want to forget it, so I just slapped down all my ideas onto one notepad and then finalized it from there. So I had this team going non-stop in my head up until the battle. So yeah, it was pretty interesting matchup, to say the least, considering the fact that despite the fact that stuff like Mega Kangaskhan doesn't have access to Power Up Punch, which I don't mind, to be perfectly honest. Seismic Toss is one thing, Power Up Punch is another. But I feel as though I have the responses for the Mega Kangaskhan. Hoopa is a bit more trickier to deal with, especially if it's a special variant, as I don't really have much that's really wants to come in on Hoopa Unbound, except for Silvally Dark, maybe as a check, but it still can get overwhelmed by Z Focus Blast, and I didn't want to bring Silvally in that instance. And there were some other threats to my team. Primarina can be a little bit annoying if I don't keep my Roserade healthy enough. So there are some key threats to his draft. I more or less am expecting at least the top 6 with some sort of variation, maybe having the Ditto over one of these mons, just to make sure my potential setup sweepers are kept in check. So I really had to think long. And hard about how aggressive I should be in terms of trying to set up with my draft. So in terms of the build, it's more or less trying to instead not going to overwhelm my opponent, but try to whittle them down a little bit at a time with my draft. So jumping right into the team builder here after rambling on for about 4 minutes. The first Pokemon I have on my team, we have Pebbles, our Rocky Helmet, Fizdef, Mandibuzz with Foul Play, Toxic, Roost, and Taunt. Pretty much max Fizdef on this Mandibuzz, as it is designed to be my dedicated response to the Hoopa and to the Mega Kangaskhan and most of his physical threats like the Metagross I can check with Mandibuzz pretty easily, all things considered, if he goes for a power up punch. If he goes for any physical threat, I can heal off with Roost. I initially did have U-turn on this Mandibuzz set, but when I saw that Foul Play was 2-KOing Hoopa, even if it was timid or modest with 0 IVs in the attack, there was literally no need for me to run a U-turn on my Mandibuzz other than to just try to get momentum, which I kind of didn't want to do, as I also found Taunt Toxic to be very, very nice, as it does prevent stuff like Porygon 2 from healing or trying to cripple my own Mandibuzz with status. I can cripple non-speed invested Metagross, prevent that from getting up rocks or setting up itself. So it was just a nice option to have in general, and good basis to start my team around, just having something to reliably check the Hoopa, check the Mega Kangaskhan, and most of his physical threats right then and there. So that is my Mandibuzz set. And moving on now to our next Pokemon, we have Ivy, our Spadef Black Sludge Roserade, Spike Synthesis, Sludge Bomb Hidden Power Ground. With mostly specially defensive, this is my dedicated switch in to Primarina, and most of his special attackers, the Kingdra, the Tentacruel, stuff like that. Even if he predicts my Roserade with going for Psychic on my Roserade with Primarina, this set is designed to take 2 Choice Spec Psychics from Primarina from full always, and I'm running enough speed on my Roserade to outspeed all variants of Primarina, except of course for non-Scarf variants, and the rest is just thrown into Spadef, and then the HP just hits a leftovers number, and the rest is just thrown into defense because nowhere else to put it. So like I said, this is my design switch into Primarina, most of its bulky water types, and then I could try to get up a layer of spikes to better pressure his team and help me wear it down in the long run. So that was the main idea behind my Roserade set. Didn't go for Giga Drain here because the coverage didn't really mean I didn't have like the adequate coverage. Like Grass Stab didn't really help me at all in this matchup. Plus there was also the possibility of a potential Liquid Ooze Tentacruel, which is kind of like uncommon, but I tried to take as many considerations as I could into building this team. So Giga Drain didn't make any sense here. The combination of Sludge Bomb plus Hidden Power Ground pretty much has his entire team at least neutrally. HP Ground is just nice to catch that Metagross, catch the Delphox on the switch. But yeah, that's pretty much what it's designed for, and Roserade is very, very nice. And I needed a water check, considering that he does have 3 water types at his disposal. I wanted to make sure I had something to take on said water types. So that is my Roserade. Now we're moving on to third Pokemon here. Very straightforward, standard offensive Dragonium Z Garchomp with Stealth Rock, Swords Dance, and Dual Stab. This is just my way of getting up rocks and pressuring his team offensively with getting up Swords Dance on something that Garchomp can force out, like non-Scarf Hoopa. I can force out Metagross if it doesn't want to take an Earthquake. Go for an SD, and then just try to nuke something between either going for Z Outrage or going for a potential +2 Earthquake. Of course, I'm always guaranteed to outspeed his base 100s, being the Tentacruel and the Mega Kangaskhan, as if I'm able to get up a Swords Dance, +2 Outrage can knock out a even max HP Mega Kangaskhan, which is very, very cool. And then Earthquake is just nice and spammable once I get rid of the Swellow and weaken the Gourgeist if we decide to bring that. But other than that, it's a very straightforward set, not gonna lie. Garchomp is going to be doing Garchomp things, hopefully, in this match. So trying to get up rocks and force some pressure against his team offensively with its Dual Stab. So moving on now, we have one of our beneficiaries from this potential Hazard Stack core. We have our Adamant Choice Scarf Jirachi with Heart Stand, Fire Punch, U-Turn, and Healing Wish with max attack Adamant and enough speed to outspeed his Hoopa Unbound, which was pretty much the only Pokemon I considered running a Choice Scarf that I knew Jirachi could outspeed. If Swellow was like Choice Scarf itself, it outsped my Jirachi, so there was literally no point. And the odds of him bringing like a Choice Scarf Tentacruel, like, it literally didn't make any sense in my head to try to bring Choice Scarf Tentacruel in this matchup, because I take advantage of Tentacruel locked into a water type move with my Roserade, so or my Suicune for that matter, and it just didn't make any sense to me. So I decided to go after the next fastest potential Scarfer on his team, which would be Scarf Hoopa. Scarf Kingdra, like I said, doesn't make any sense in this matchup whatsoever. And anything faster than Jirachi that can run Scarf, it will run Scarf like the Delphox and the Swellow. Swallow a lot less likely, but Delphox definitely can be a very threatening Choice Scarf user if I'm not careful. So, with all that kept in mind, I decided just to outspeed his a potential Choice Scarf Hoopa if he does decide to bring that, and everything slower than that. But mainly, he's just trying to benefit from the potential hazard stack I can get up with my Garchomp and my Roserade, which is very, very cool. So, moving on now to our 5th Pokemon here, and we have essentially a Vincoon set here, Sub, Roar, Protect, and Scald, with very speedy Suicune here, enough speed to outspeed all variants of Hoopa barring non-Choice Scarf, and the EV spread is just set the way it is to get, on the off chance that Porygon 2 comes in on Suicune and tries to get a download boost, it will get an attack boost instead of a special attack boost. So the main purpose with Suicune is to try to force something out, get up a sub, and if the Hoopa is gone and Swallow is not special with Boom Burst, I can just spam Roar to my heart's content and rack up the Stealth Rock and Spikes damage and hopefully pave the way for a potential late game sweep with my Scarfrachi. So that's pretty much the premise behind this. Nothing else much to say about it, just my way of checking his offensive threats and at the same time trying to phase stuff out with Roar, which is also very cool for my draft. And then lastly we have our Mega Diancie here, Sub Endeavor with Moonblast and Earth Power. Pretty much gave me all the coverage I need in that one turn, in that one move slot right here. As Mega Diancie can force plenty of switches. If he decides to go hard Metagross, I can always sub up on that, force him to attack me to break my sub, and then go for a clean Earth Power to do well over half to a Metagross, a clean to a KO, barring like Sugar Berry or Air Balloon. But nonetheless, a Sub Endeavor set is very, very nice in this draft once the Hoopa goes down. Plus, it can still offensively check that Swallow, even if it is behind the sub, as Boom Burst is a resisted hit. And because it's a sound move, we don't have to worry about Mega Diancie's sub being broken anytime soon. So this is just a very straightforward set with enough speed for his base 100s. Again, I EV my Diancie in a way so Porygon 2 gets an attack boost if it is in fact download. So that's pretty much it for the team. I'm just going to jump right into the battle, switch over to the battle, and see how we fare in our inaugural week of the PTL. So here we are with the battle, guys, against Bloodcrawler and his Leuven Larvitars, and as you can see by the team he brought, he has decided to bring the Hoopa Unbound, the Porygon 2, Swallow, Gourgeist, Primarina, and the Metagross. So pretty much what I expected, nearly perfect. The only exception is he did bring the Gourgeist over the Mega Kangaskhan, which is fine. I felt as though if I kept my Mandibuzz healthy enough, I felt like Mega Kangaskhan was a non-issue. And also eased the pressure off my Mandibuzz, so now it's just designed to check the Hoopa Unbound if whenever it comes in. So in terms of a lead matchup for me, I had a couple of options at my disposal here. The first one was to potentially lead off with Garchomp, but the problem is if you let off with either Primarina or Gourgeist, I'd be on the back burner, and I don't want that to happen this early on in the match. So the other option I decided to go for was Jirachi, because I am Choice Scarf. I don't want to reveal that I'm Scarf yet, just I want to have that potential sense of security in my back pocket. And judging from the structure of the team he built, I really don't see how anything is really Choice Scarf. Like, it didn't really make any sense, especially in Hoopa's case, because the coverage options that it has at its disposal was just so wide that it feels like kind of a waste, but hey, I'll take it. So what I'm going to do here is I am just going to stick with my plan, or my potential plan, try to get up as many hazards as I can between my Roserade, get up rocks with my Garchomp, and then proceed to phase stuff out with my Suicune to put it into range where I could potentially win in the late game with my Scarf Jirachi. So that's what's going to happen here. So we're going to start the battle here and see how we fare in the first week. So like I said, I'm going to lead off with my Jirachi as my opponent decides to lead off with a Primarina. So interesting turn 1 here. Probably predicted me to lead off with my Garchomp here to get up my rocks early on in the match. But I decided against that, obviously. I also could have led off with Roserade, considering that unless he is Defog Swallow, once hazards are up, there is absolutely no way he can get rid of hazards on his side of the field without trying to have him run Defog on Swallow, which would benefit me as well if he gets up rocks on my side. So in this turn 1 matchup here, I decided instead of trying to go for like an Iron Head here, which I don't have, I'm going to make the play and go out and U-turn out, because if he stays in, I have my response in the back in my Roserade. So I'm going to make the U-turn play, and as you're going to see, turn 1, he's actually going to pull a switch into his Metagross here. So I'm going to U-turn out, and I'm going to go directly out into my Mandibuzz, which is pretty nice. So from here, I figured I had a couple of plays at my disposal. I know for a fact that this Metagross is not going to want to stay in and take a potential foul play or knock off to the face. So the other option I could have did was predict him to switch out and gone for a Toxic, but I instead figured that the damage for foul play would be a lot better in the long run for my team. So I'm going to go and fire with a foul play, because either way I get off damage onto something on his draft. So he's going to be forced out. He's going to go into Porygon 2. He does reveal to be down low. I'll go for foul play here, and I get off a good chunk of damage with this Porygon 2. So now I'm in a little bit of a bind here, because this Porygon 2 is now at +1 special attack, and I didn't want anything on my team to try to take a +1 hit from this Porygon 2, especially considering I don't know what its moveset is. If he's defensive with download, that's fine. It's a little bit more manageable to deal with because it's not fully special attack invested. But at the same time, though, this is still a pretty scary threat to deal with right in my face, even if it's considered underwhelming in terms of power in Porygon 2. So just to be on the safe side, though, in case he gets a more defensive Porygon 2, I decided to go for a taunt first. And as you're going to see, he did try, in fact, to go for the Toxic on the following turn here. So he goes for Toxic to go my own. He goes Fire with an Ice Beam. That's 58%. And he freezes my Mandibuzz. So that, so this right here, it was a very, very unfortunate turn of events. Like, I didn't mind getting going for Toxic this turn on the Porygon 2, but I just needed to not have the freeze happen, because even if I took the damage was fine, because I had Roost in the back, and there was absolutely no way he wouldn't try to Ice Beam again and constantly keep going for these freezes. Now, I know it's a 10% chance to get the freeze, but it's still very unfortunate, because this Mandibuzz is my Hoopa response, and if I lose my Mandibuzz, then Hoopa's going to run rampant against my entire team, which I didn't want to happen in the first place. So in an effort to try to preserve my Mandibuzz for the Hoopa, I'm going to make the play, and I'm going to go out into my Jirachi, expecting another Ice Beam here. After he takes these toxic damage, I'm going to go into my Jirachi. He's going to fire off an Ice Beam here. We eat that Ice Beam up, and we get frozen again. Now, this was very unfortunate, especially considering, well, I literally had two plays. I could have went Jirachi like I did here, or I could have went on to my Suicune on the next Ice Beam. But I went into this turn considering the fact that I didn't think that another Ice Beam freeze would happen again. And this incredibly sucks, because this Jirachi is more or less my win con in this game, and I can't have my win con frozen. And I wanted to keep Suicune healthy just in case the Primarina was getting out of hand and started spamming like Scalds and whatnot. And it also serves to check to the Metagross too, so that's also cool. But I wanted to maintain as much health as I could on my Suicune, because Suicune was pivotal in trying to phase stuff around with Roar. But this getting the freeze on Jirachi is just so irritating, especially considering I'm Choice Scarf and I'm still frozen. So I can't do anything to anything on any mon of his draft whatsoever. So in an effort to try to thaw myself out, I'm going to click Fire Punch this turn to have some sort of chance to get back some momentum. He's going to switch out into his Gourgeist here. First found my Choice Scarf, I remain frozen here. So now I'm going to make the play and go into my Roserade here, as he's going to reveal the Trick Room on this Gourgeist. So now that I see that what this Gorgeist is designed to do, other than check my Suicune offensively, it is also in Trick Room offensive variant. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but I still feel as though my Roserade can still take on this Gorgeist 1v1 and at least stall out some turns of Trick Room if I can. So what I'm going to do here to play it, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go for a Synthesis just to see what he decides to go for this turn. And he is going to, I'm going to switch out into my Mandibuzz first on the Rock Slide. So good on him. I was honestly expecting him to go for like a Shadow Claw or something at this particular turn for the Jirachi, or like Phantom Force, whatever the case may be. But now that my Mandibuzz is looking to be in a situation where I can't heal back up, I still want to try to thaw out at some point during the match, because I do have the opportunity to thaw out against the Porygon too, and if I'm able to do that, I can Roost, keep my Mandibuzz around, because that Hoopa is a problem. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to, if I recall correctly, I think I'm going to make a double. I'm going to double back, if I recall correctly here. Yeah, I'm going to double into my Suicune here on the next Rock Slide, just to try to stall out some turns of Trick Room here. And I believe I go for a Protect. Yeah, I go for Protect here to stall out even more turns of Trick Room as it goes for a Fire Off a Seed Bomb here. So now I'm going to go out into my Mandibuzz again on the next Seed Bomb. And hopefully, I see the Trick Room ends, but he reveals a Shadow Sneak to finish off my Mandibuzz, so I get Rocky Helmet chip damage. My Mandibuzz is gone now, which does suck, because now my Hoopa check is gone, and I have absolutely no responses to a Hyperspace Fury from this Hoopa, unless I'm able to outspeed it with either my Garchomp or hope that my Jirachi can thaw itself out in time to like make sure I have an offensive check to Hoopa in case things go awry here. So with me losing my my Gorgeist, my Mandibuzz to this Gorgeist here, I'm gonna make the play and go out into my Roserade here, and I decided to get up a layer of spikes here to pressure his team on the Hazard Wall as he goes for another Trick Room. So here I'm gonna go for Synthesis here as he goes for Shadow Sneak, which is just my way of trying to stall out these Trick Room turns. And now I believe I go for another layer of spikes as he makes the go hard into the Hoopa Unbound here on my layer of spikes, and now I am in a pickle. Like, this is not good whatsoever. I need my Roserade for Primarina. There's literally no way I can sack off Primarina at this point in the match. What I could have did here was actually I could have gone out into my Diancie here, because out of everything on my team so far, the most expendable Mon was my Diancie. I needed my Jirachi to offensively check this thing. I still had a chance to think that it was going to thaw itself out from being frozen. So I could have went to Diancie here, but I make a kind of regrettable play here afterwards, and I went to my Suicune here to take the Hyperspace Fury, and as you're going to see, it's going to get cleanly 2-hit KO'd by this Hyperspace Fury as the Hoopa reveals its Life Orb. I can't protect here, but what I should have did afterwards, well, first and foremost, I never should have made this play and gone out into Suicune. I should have sacked off the Diancie. The Diancie, Mega Diancie was a lot more expendable in this matchup. The only thing it really was doing was offensively checking the Swallow, and I still had my Jirachi if I could thaw myself out. But I was in a little bit of a precarious situation considering my Jirachi was frozen. And if my Jirachi remained frozen, then I wouldn't have a response to Swallow. So I decided to sack off my Suicune here, which was pretty regrettable, all things considered, because all I really wanted to do was stall out these turns of Trick Room, which was becoming to be quite a pain for my team. So unfortunately, I'm going to be sacking my Suicune here to the Hyperspace Fury. It's going to take Life Orb Recall, and now I'm going to go out into my Garchomp here to force this thing out as he's going to switch out into his Gorgeist. Take the Spikes damage, reveals I am Dragonium Z. I'm just going to fire an Earthquake because I did not... I didn't want to mess around with this thing. I could have went for SD here, but he could have been ballsy and decided to try to stay in and try to force my hand, and I didn't really want that situation considering I'm already down 4v6. So from here, what I'm going to do afterwards is kind of a questionable thing. What I could have did first and foremost was gone for fired off my Z Outrage at this point, but I wanted to preserve it in the back But since he already revealed that I'm Z move, what I should do here was gone for my Z move here. Because if he is indeed a max HP, max attack like Gorgeist, then it pretty much would have did enough damage to the point where I either knocked it out or I could have finished it off with like an Earthquake or something. So instead, I'm going to make the kind of questionable play here. I'm going to get up my rocks this following turn. This goes for another Trick Room. So here I'm going to make the rinse and repeat the previous process, go into my Roserade, stalling out these turns of Trick Room here. So instead of going for a third layer of spikes, this time I'm going to click Sludge Bomb here as he does go back out into his Hoopa, expecting me to go for another layer of spikes. This time I go for Sludge Bomb, almost knock it out, but I don't get the poison, which sucks immensely because what this means is two things. This Hoopa can get off one more attack on my team, and something has to take a Hyperspace Fury. The only thing I have left on my team that can potentially take a Hyperspace Fury is my Diancie. The problem with this is if I'm going to go to my Diancie, he's going to attack with Hyperspace Fury, he's going to die to Life Orb recoil, he gets switch initiative in this battle, which absolutely sucks. And there's nothing I can do about that in this situation. And like I said, I still need Rosary for Primarina. So I'm pretty much forced to go out into my Diancie this turn to take the next Hyperspace Fury. So we eat that up, take 36%. It dies to Life Orb recoil here, and he gets switch initiative here as he goes out into his Metagross. And he makes a fantastic play here. He knows I'm going to be forced to switch out. He goes for an agility as Trick Room now ends this turn, and now he's going to reveal that he is indeed Z move. He's going to go for the Z Earthquake to knock out my Jirachi, and this is pretty much spelling the beginning of the end here. And it sucks because I pretty much was already behind the 8 ball on numerous occasions because I lost my Mana Buzz to the freeze, and then I had a frozen Jirachi. What I should have did was, instead of going into my Jirachi, I should have just tried to sack off the Diancie, forced him to attack my Diancie. I could have clicked Earth Power and get off a good chunk of damage to this Metagross. Even if he went for Rock Polish, it didn't matter in the long run, because I know the Metagross would have most likely lived, and even if he didn't, even if it did live, it would have been to the point where he couldn't switch out, and then hopefully it would have been in range to where it would take out, where Garchomp can then come in and force him to either take out my Garchomp with the with a contact move, which would hopefully knock it out with Rough Skin, or put it in range to where an Earthquake won't take out my Garchomp, because as you can see, my Garchomp was still essentially at full HP at this point in the battle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Garchomp here and hope he doesn't have Ice Punch, but he does, and he knocks out my Garchomp in one hit. So that's pretty much going to be it. And as my last chance is going to Roserade, he's going to go for Ice Punch again. We live, and yeah, this is pretty much the story of the entire battle. Like, if I had known Roserade was going to take an Ice Punch from this Metagross, I would have never sacked off Garchomp. But the caveat on top is I would get frozen by Ice Punch, and I can't even go for. And I was going to go for Hidden Power Ground, which would have knocked out the Metagross, because I am Technician on this Roserade. So essentially speaking, this game is going to end very, very painfully for me, unfortunately. Or in this case, given the abrupt cold shoulder by pretty much half my entire team. As you're going to see, I am frozen, I don't get an attack off, and that's going to be the game, because he's going to Ice Punch, take out my Roserade, and my last Pokemon is Diancie. I'm going to Mega Evolve, he's going to just click Bullet Punch to take out my Mega Diancie, and that is going to be a very, very painful 5-0 loss to the Leuven Larvitars. So yeah, pretty much the story of the match. I get frozen 3 times in 3 separate occasions, and the situations could not have come at a worse time, to be perfectly honest. If it was one thing I didn't need during the duration of this match was any sort of hacks to like backfire against me. And I know there were some plays or some switches I did that were questionable, but at that point when I saw my Jirachi of all things get frozen and I was contemplating going into Suicune, I valued Suicune's HP more than Jirachi's, and Jirachi got frozen. And once my Jirachi got frozen with no way of thawing itself out, I pretty much lost the game to either this Metagross, which ended up sweeping the rest of my team, or Swallow if it got to the point where my Diancie couldn't come in and check it and all that stuff. But the whole dynamic of the game changed once my Mana Buzz went down, because my Hoopa response did not exist at that point afterwards, and it sucks that it came in a situation where hacks played a big part in how this game ended up going. Like, if I didn't get frozen at that point, I would have still had a healthy Mana Buzz to check the Hoopa. He would have been forced to go in and out, and he would have been forced to be constantly switching out, taking Stealth Rock and 2 layers of spikes and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, what more can you say? I mean, the odds of getting frozen 3 times in one game between 2 Ice Beams and an Ice Punch, it's literally like 1/100th or 1/10 of a percent to happen. And for it to happen the first week of the season, it just sucks immensely. I mean, what more can you say? Yeah, I lost 5-0, but it might as well have been a 6-0 because nothing on my team got a kill. Hoopa died to Life Orb recoil, and the only thing I had to show for it is Stealth Rock, 2 layers of spikes, and a Poison Porygon 2 from my efforts, or a lack thereof. But yeah, this was a very, very painful way to start off the season. I didn't expect it to go this poorly. Again, this is nothing to my opponent. Like, I can't really complain about hacks. It's the game we play, but it's very, very frustrating when you put so much emphasis into a team and your reward is like getting a fat middle finger by the hacks gods from up above with triple freeze, and some pretty big freezes at that. But I just gotta block this loss out of my head and move on. That's all I can really do. This game didn't go even close to the way I expected to go in my head. I had a game plan, and the plan just went awry from turn 4. That's really all I can say in that regard. Like, I felt as though I had the matchup. I felt as though my team was good enough, but good enough doesn't mean anything to the hacks gods. That's all I can say about that. But we will try to bounce back next week. That's all I can really do. It's not the way I want to start the season. 0-1, -5. Might as well be -6 at this point. But I gotta try. Words. Can't let this affect how I prep, especially going forward in this season, because it's a long season. One loss isn't going to define my I'm not going to let this one loss define my season as a whole, although it's going to be pretty funny looking back on it and seeing how a battle like this could have ever happened in the first place. But that's going to be it from me, guys. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All that good stuff. Check out my opponent. I'll leave his link and stuff in the description down below. And that's pretty much going to be it from me, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. Somehow enjoy. But anyway, that's going to be it from me. That's it from me, guys. And until the next time, this is Tone, signing off for now. Peace out.